So, I'm here to talk to you about WandaVision, and in order to do so in the manner in which I want to, I'm going to have to go into spoiler territory. So, there is your warning. So, let's get into this. Now, when the trailers for WandaVision dropped, most people realized that this was something completely different than anything we've gotten in the MCU, and it is. And they didn't really know what to expect. They knew it was going to have some sort of sitcom influence, but how much of an influence, some people were unsure. Now, when episodes 1 and 2 dropped, it was pretty much what I was expecting from the show. It to be heavily based in a sitcom, but yet have little clues here and there with more and more stuff revealed as each episode goes on. That's pretty much what happened. Now, in the first episode, the only real clue that we got, well, there's other little subtle clues and stuff, such as, when the toaster comes on, they mention that it is from Stark Industries, but when the toaster cuts on, you hear the sound of, Tony Stark's unibeam, sort of like that little firing up. And of course, there's a red dot on there. And the episodes 1 and 2 are in black and white, so having that little bit of red dot color is also something else. But then in episode 2, obviously there's the whole commercial with the Strucker watch and having the Hydra symbol on it. But really, in that episode, we have a toy helicopter that is orange, that is red and yellow, not orange. It's red and yellow, Iron Man's colors. And then when this woman gets her hand cut, that is all her blood is also in color. Now, what's interesting is Wanda notices this, and that's her indication that something's off or something's not right here. And then also when the lady cuts her hand, that's another indication that something's off or something's not right. But what I want to touch on, and then I have to get into my theories as regards to the show, is when the woman cuts her hand, and also in episode 1 when Mr. Hart is choking at the table, Mrs. Hart gives an indication that something is off here. Like when the woman cuts her hand in episode 2 and her and Wanda looking at it, it almost feels as if this woman was coming out of whatever programming that she was under until she got rebooted. And then she goes back into sitcom lady. And in episode 1, when Mr. Hart is choking at the dinner table, Mrs. Hart, they do the whole sitcom thing where the wife's like, oh, stop it. You're being silly, honey. Stop it. Stop it. And she has this smile on her face. But as he continues to choke, Wanda is staring at him. And the mood just completely changes in the show, but Wanda stares, like almost ominous, but Wanda's staring at him. Vision is looking as if he doesn't have a clue as to what to do, or he's sitting there waiting for permission to do something. And Mrs. Hart, she has it's that comical stop it, but then they do a cut or close up of her face, and you can see where she has the smile, but behind her eyes, you can see the concern, you can see the fear, and it looks like she's, you know, almost begging, pleading with Wanda to stop it, to stop him from choking. Now, maybe it's an indication that Wanda caused him to choke because he was being very confrontational. Because when he was asking them questions, when they both asked him a question, when did you get married? How did you meet? They didn't have any answers because maybe Wanda just didn't think about that, in that regard. And, so she was caught off guard. And I think that's what happened with the woman in episode 2 when she was sort of confrontational with Wanda about a certain aspect. Now, I need to go back and watch this to make sure, but yeah, I think that's when she gets cut. So whenever Wanda gets sort of pushed back against the wall, something happens and somebody ends up getting injured because it gets too close to whatever this secret is being revealed. And so Wanda eventually tells Vision, she goes, Vision, help him, or something like that. And Vision goes over there and gets the food out of his throat. And then everything goes back to normal. Like they don't even realize, hey, this guy just, phased through his neck and poured the food out. It's almost as if nothing happened. And, it's like you got to reset, and then things continued on from there. Also, in episode 2, we are introduced to Monica Rambeau, but she's going by Genevieve inside that reality. And when she's introduced, she goes, I really don't have any idea what I'm doing here. And now you could plan off as, oh, she doesn't have any idea what she's doing in that little inner circle of women and the projects that they're working on. But I think it's Monica Rambeau went into that area that Wanda is in, the Wandaverse, and she went in there with a specific mission to get to Wanda. But once she got in there, she became under the influence of whatever the mind control is there. And she doesn't have any clue as to what she's doing inside there. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if she didn't actually just show up prior to her meeting Wanda in that episode. So there's that. And so who's controlling it? Is it Wanda controlling it? Does she have some sort of conscious control over, subconscious control, or both? Because when you look at the dinner scene, you see Wanda, she almost has some form of control when she says Vision help him. That's an indication that she has some sort of control or awareness. But at the end of episode 2, when the beekeeper comes out of the manhole and she looks at him and she realizes, hey, this person doesn't belong here. She's like, no. And she sort of rewinds things to start off at another set point. So it's going to be interesting seeing how things play out from here and how they do the episodes. Now, my guess is that since it's 9 episodes, they're going to do things in threes. Episodes 1, 2, and 3 is going to focus mainly on the sitcom world, with a little bit more being revealed each episode as far as something's off here. Now, I think in episode 3, because if you remember from the trailers, we do know that there's an outside world. We do know that people are aware that Wanda's inside, and it looks like a force shield that Wanda's in there, and that people are trying to get to her, trying to get in contact with her, and I think Monica Rambeau was sent in there to try to get in touch with Wanda. Now in episode 3, in the trailer, we see Monica get thrown out by Wanda. And I think that's what we're going to get in episode 3. And I think when Monica gets thrown out, I think that's going to be our first look into the outside world, and more than just a glance. I think that may happen at the end of the episode. I could be wrong. Now, there are people who've seen the episode 3. I haven't seen it, so I'm just guessing. And I think episode 4, 5, and 6 is going to focus mainly on us seeing the outside world in conjunction with the Wandaverse. And I think around maybe at the end of episode 6, but beginning with episode 7 and 8, we're going to be introduced to who the villains are and what the villains want. And of course, episode 9 is going to be the big conclusion. And, whether or not that. And of course, that's supposed to lead into Doctor Strange and the multiverse. So we'll see how that ends. And I'm guessing it'll probably end on something, it'll be one of those things where it has an ending, but it has a cliffhanger type deal. Maybe there'll be like an after credit scene type deal regarding Doctor Strange coming in and taking Wanda away, what have you, to do whatever it is they're going to do in the Doctor Strange and the multiverse. But anyway, these are just my hunches, my guesses, and this is going off the first 2 episodes and what we've seen in the trailer. I'm loving the show so far. I really dig the concept. Now, I know there are some people out there who may have felt that these first 2 episodes were a little bit boring or a little bit slow, and I think somebody even mentioned that they were watching the episode. What I just say, John Campion said that he was watching the episode with his wife, and he was saying he was liking it, but he kept waiting to see. He kept waiting for something to happen. Where he said his wife was just enjoying things as they go along. And I was watching somebody else who flat out said that they thought the first 2 episodes were a little bit slow and boring. And I wonder, with people like that. Now, most of the reviews I've seen were more positive than negative as far as the people that I watch in regards to reviews. But I'm wondering if some of these people, well, one, you have the Marvels, the MCU, the movies, and, whereas this is so different from what we've been getting, maybe they just haven't able to adjust to that, or maybe they were expecting something and they didn't what they were expecting. Usually when you expect something to be a certain way and it's not that way, you're either taken by surprise but you instantly love it, or you're taken by surprise and you instantly hate it, or you're taken by surprise and you're sort of in that let me feel this out type of phase. So I think there are people that are in all three of those categories. But I honestly feel, now obviously, opinions are subjective, and people are entitled to like what they like and to dislike what they like. But I feel that had this not been an MCU show, a show based on the MCU, it was just some show based on some other property that's not MCU, I feel that people would be a little bit more tolerant in regards to the slow burn and them not getting to the reveals and getting to the action. But that's just me. And, there's really no need to go into a whole lot of detail regarding that. But yeah, WandaVision overall, I'm liking it. I'm looking forward to the rest of it. And yeah, so those are my thoughts. Leave yours in the comment section down below. Hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and until next time, catch you on the flip side.